Welcome you guys to Wednesday watch party here. Yeah, mom was not here yesterday. Sorry about that. They clamor for you whenever you're not here. So I mean, what can you do? I mean, all you can do is take over all the popularity of my little 1 hour stream. I mean, what am I supposed to do about it? It's just fine. It's whatever. I don't care. I also care though about the fact that you guys are here. You should probably care that we're here super early. I got like 20 minutes extra ahead of the time because I've got so much to say. I have a problem. I hear in addiction types of things, the first step is to admit that you've got a problem. I've got a problem, you guys. I have ideas about what I want to talk about. And then after I get those ideas in my head, I was like, yes, I'm gonna go with those things that I'm gonna talk about. After I get those ideas and then say yes and go with those ideas that I want to talk about, then I over prepare and I say, I could talk about this aspect of it, but then there's this second aspect of it. Then there's the third, fourth, fifth, seventh, and probably up to 10 different aspects of it. I do that from three different stories, sometimes four, and I find myself going, well, I can't stop now. I've already way down this rabbit hole. I'm screwed. I I did that today. Because the days that I don't do it, which is like what's been like one day, I feel like I'm not gonna talk for a full hour. And I don't want to disappoint you guys or myself because I feel like I'm underdoing it. So I overdo it and then overdo it on top of the overdoing it. So hi, that's what's going to happen today. But at least I was done early enough in time to jump on early. Most of the time I do things like that. I say I'll just stay an extra 15 minutes. Instead, I'm gonna start an extra 15 minutes early. So that's why I've rambled for the first 2 or 3 minutes here to make sure those of you who did not get that notification that we're starting early, because I wish it would just go out there. I'm giving you guys time to now see, now that we've started, that we are here early. Yes, it's live. Yes, it's Wednesday. So as you guys file in, this is a Wednesday watch party. So in case you didn't get these notifications, double check, make sure you're getting those notifications. And if you haven't even clicked to get notifications, what the hell are you doing? What's wrong with you? Click it now. And then afterwards, like this stream, share it, and we'll all have fun every day of the week talking about this disgusting government and the Gestapo that continues to run through our streets. Donald Trump's personal army. I mean, he's got his ICE agents. That's the first thing we're going on, but also he's trying to continue to file his military into our streets as well too, because he is a fascist madman and needs to be taken out of power. That's just the way this is. I'm going to show you more reasons why. So hey everybody, hey Sweden Dragon. It's actually afternoon way over there in Sweden. Dragon Shepherd. I love the dragons are always in the house over here. Mara Felson, Jason Stanley. Peace to you as well, fam. Christina Elisa Brown. I mean, Christina's here. I guess we can now start considering Christina is here. As others come in, let them know that what they missed, since you guys are, I know, taking notes. My nerds are here early in class, making sure we know what's happening. Yes, we are on early, Christina, but so are you. It's nothing to trip about, is it? I mean, I hope not. All right, let's go. Like I said, we're going to start off talking about these fascists running through our streets, causing violence, terrorizing communities. And as a matter of fact, people are beginning to fight back. It's what I've been waiting and hoping to see more of. And we come in larger numbers. As people have been saying, there's more of us than there are of them. And when people push back, they start showing how scared these cowardly, trash ass people are of our country. This happened in New York. So as you see there, ICE agents running through now New York City, assaulting folks, running through crowds, kidnapping people off the streets, doing illegal activities because we have a criminal in the White House, along with the criminal administration, along with criminal people running our agencies, including this one. Let's not forget, Tom Homan is also one of those criminals that took a $50,000 bribe. And for some reason, we're supposed to just start forgetting about it because the next thing that they decided to pull on this country as they attack it from within, these terrorists, they want us to forget about it, but we won't. We're going to get Tom Homan's ass too. But before his ass gets gotten, let me tell you guys exactly what is that was going on, why they were doing it, and what resulted from it. So again, this is New York City. ICE agents went to their vehicles as New Yorkers ran into the streets. The ICE agents then began pushing people and tackling some to the ground. That led to more enraged bystanders joining the mob and lashing out at the ICE agents. Pause for a second. This ain't a mob. Bystanders joined the group of citizens that pushed back on the mob that attacked the city. Just to correct them here. The feds then pulled out batons and riot shields in an effort to get the crowd under control, striking some in the process. That was the mob who was pulling out weapons and striking American citizens. Let's stop letting them change this narrative and characterize us as people that are actually the ones that are doing the illegal activities. It's them. Here's more from that scene in case you guys didn't know what happened and the reasons why that they were there. As agents entered Federal Plaza, the NYPD arrived on the scene in riot gear to halt the advancing crowd. As of 5:20 p.m., many crowd members remained outside of Federal Plaza, where they were taking some of the folks that they were kidnapping. Because ICE agents are criminal terrorists that are running through American cities, attacking people. This is a whole operation that they had, I believe, through Chinatown over in New York City. So this operation came 2 days, pay attention to this part, came 2 days after Turning Point USA contributor Savannah Hernandez posted a video on X urging ICE to, quote, check out the corner of Broadway and Canal Street. In her post, which had more than 4.3 million views as of yesterday, she claimed that 20 to 30 illegal immigrants from Senegal were operating a black market and selling goods without licenses. So in response to that, Department of Homeland Security and ICE and all these officials, then after this whole thing went down where people were pushing back and made sure they ran their asses off the streets, even though they did kidnap a few people, their excuses were, we got some highly not classified, but high intelligence scenarios were figured out, and we got to the streets to carry out this operation. It's weird that they're highly intelligent classifications for their operations were carried out from a Turning Point USA contributor who posted on X and said, go get them. It's just to realize this is their high level of operations based in intelligence gathering from someone from Turning Points USA. Yeah, that same organization where Charlie Kirk started that then died later, and they used his death to try and push more of their Gestapo style tactics on the United States of America. That's who they operate through. They operate through these rabidly racist organizations. This is who they are. Stop listening to other folks tell you that that's who they are. Listen to the Gestapo tell you that that's who they are. That's straight from the top. So we'll see how far they get in New York and how many more people are going to decide to start stepping out and defending our cities from this invading army. Because that was in New York City. I'm moving kind of fast because I got so much happening today. As I said, I'm loving some of the pushback that's happening as New York is now being attacked. We've seen Chicago being attacked for a few weeks now. Over here in Wheeling, Illinois, one man walked upon these cowardly ass ICE agents, and this was the confrontation he had with them. Look at their sorry asses.
Because they're brown. You guys are pieces of shit. You guys are pieces of shit. Fuck you. Fuck you. I have rights, motherfucker. Leave them the fuck alone. Leave them the fuck alone. We don't take orders from you, man. Back up. Yeah, you only take fucking orders from a pedophile rapist, you piece of shit. You want your fucking bonus so fucking bad, you broke bitch? You broke bitch? Give me your Venmo, I'll fucking PayPal you some shit, you stupid bitch, you broke motherfucker. Yeah, this is our fucking community. I went to school in this community. I grew up in this community. I'm not gonna let you fucking ICE pigs terrorize us, motherfuckers. Fuck you. Man, fuck you. Or what? Or what? You're gonna fucking shoot me? I'll die for this shit. You fucking pigs, get the fuck out of here. You don't fuck. What the fuck you gonna do, motherfucker? This is my fucking village, motherfucker. I went to school here. You fucking pigs. Valen mierda todos. Valen mierda. Valen mierda, hijo de su perra madre. You fucking pigs. You fucking rats. Get the fuck out of our fucking town, motherfucker. I'll die for this shit. I'll die for this shit, motherfucker. Yeah, motherfucker. Look at these fucking pigs. Show your face, pussy. 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 Of course you won't. You're a fucking rat, bitch.
That's how you deal with terrorists. That's how you deal with pieces of shit. That's how you deal with these weaklings who are afraid and run in packs and cover their faces because they're afraid. It's a gang of cowards. And if you get in their face and let them know that you're not going to take anything else except for them to get the hell out of your city, they just might start doing that. But that was just one man. Imagine if there was 35 to 40 people with that exact same energy. And that becomes the norm. Because you know what has become the norm so far? What has become the norm instead has been these guys running it, oddly, running in packs with their faces covered, now with guns out in people's faces, saying, get the F back, and cussing other people out that are literally living their lives in this, what used to be a free country. So since that's now the new norm for them, I think it's about time for it to be the new norm for the rest of us. Here's that norm I was talking about. This also happened in Illinois. I believe it was Berwyn, Illinois, specifically, as I was talking about, brandishing guns like some, terrorists walking through our streets. Check out this video.
Get the fuck out of here.
You're gonna shoot a pregnant woman? Yeah, you're gonna shoot a pregnant woman? Yeah?
Stop.
No,
please.
he just fucking put a gun on it. Call the cops. Call the cops. This piece of shit of a man just pointed a gun at a fucking pregnant woman. Right there. Right there. I was going through this side. What are you talking about? My son is in the car too. He just pointed a gun at me. You seen it?
I saved it. He saved the gun at us. We're driving by. He told us to get out of the fucking way and flash the gun at us. And aimed it right directly in our car with our son in here. Yes, we're still here. They're arresting someone right now.
Of course it has the fucking plates in the front. He pointed his gun away. Me puso una pinche pistola y estoy embarazada. I'm gonna complain, you fucking piece of shit. Yeah, you're a piece of shit. I'm fucking pregnant. I am pregnant. You pointed a gun at me. Do you feel good with yourself? I hope you fucking burn in hell. I don't care. I don't care. He could record all he wants.
They can't do shit. They said they have final damn right to do this shit. They're not gonna do shit about it.
I'm shaking, dude.
Okay?
No, I'm not okay. They just pointed a fucking gun at me and I'm fucking pregnant.
Yeah, I'm gonna okay. You gonna stay here?
By the way, to answer that woman's question, that pregnant woman's question that was getting harassed and threatened to be killed by that ICE agent, yeah, he does feel good about himself. He goes home, pumps himself in the chest and says, I almost killed a pregnant woman and her kid, her unborn child that I don't care about it because Donald Trump told me that those people don't matter. Isn't it weird how years ago when we were talking about Black Lives Matter and all these other folks' lives that should matter, and all these racists pushed back and said, "I can't believe you'd say such a thing." This is the energy that they had in mind. That's why you never give them an inch for these types of narratives. This is what they believe in. They believe they can just kill people, which is then why they're always talking about how afraid they are, and how folks are coming for our ICE agents, and our ICE agents are afraid for their lives every day. But if you point that out, how that woman's had a gun pointed at her face for driving through where they were attacking other American citizens, where they were doing that, then he can point a gun at her face for being there, for existing. So again, stop listening to these folks. Just start fighting back. Because again, listen, they pull out guns and stick them in people's faces, and they're absolutely completely unqualified to do so. And then that's when things like this happened. Abby Phillips over on CNN pointed out this particular story of what happens when ICE agents, Proud Boys, Klan members, have guns and walk around with impunity to do anything that they want.
Today, there was an ICE police officer whose weapon discharged and injured a U.S. Marshal and the suspect because they were using the service weapon to bang on the window of a suspect. I mean, I don't know. I mean, these are the types of things that just seem like. Today, there was
I feel like she was getting to the point. These are the types of things that seem like this country is being run by a terrorist, with his terrorists in the streets because he's too old, decrepit, and weak as fuck to do it himself. He's scared. Continue to fight back against him. But again, this guy discharged his weapon and shot the person he was chasing, along with a U.S. Marshal, because he was banging on the window with the gun. Because that's a smart thing to do, and we should trust that these guys care, number one, about who it is that they may shoot or kill, and then after they do so, how they may run and hide. Here's a couple details in case you didn't get the full picture from what is that Abby Phillip was talking about. So in this particular case, investigators believe that gunfire erupted after an ICE officer confronted the suspect's vehicle and smashed a window with their service weapon. Didn't just knock on it, smashed it. So while attempting to grab the suspect, authorities believe that the agent's weapon discharged, striking both the suspect and a deputy U.S. Marshal. Yo, that Marshal should be pissed. But he's a part of the Gestapo, so it doesn't really matter. He's like, I'll take a couple shots for the dear leader, for our king. So this guy's named Parias. He's a popular TikTok streamer, and he's frequently documented ICE traffic stops and immigration enforcement operations around LA on his account, which is called Richard LA, which had more than 133,000 followers as of Wednesday morning. Are you seeing the connection? We've seen this before. If you're one of the people who actually has these accounts that documents these ICE agents and documents their illegal activities, what they don't want is to be seen. That's why they're attacking people. They know who it is that are tracking them, that are exposing them, that are showing the American people who it is the actual enemies that we should be taking out. So when they get upset about that, they go and start attacking the people that are exposing them and call them violent and call them folks that are putting their lives in danger as they shoot at people and shoot each other like some idiots. We've seen it before. In fact, that whole accident that happened, I believe, was also in the Chicago area. That accident they had where they barreled into this woman's SUV and they drove down the street in multiple accidents. They came at her because she had issues and exposed another one of these ICE agents who's overzealous and likes to attack people. They target the people that they know are exposing them. That's part of the plan because, like I said, they're cowards. Here's more. Parias was, quote, shot in the elbow, and one law enforcement officer was shot in the hand by a ricochet bullet. Both are in the hospital. That's what DHS said in a statement. I wonder if they said more about why they're allowing this to happen and if they give a damn about the fact that they're shooting people based off of banging on windows when they're making these type of stops. Here's the madness that happened there. Before the shooting, an administrative immigration arrest warrant had been issued to Parias, and federal agents had set up surveillance on a block in South LA to monitor his movements. These guys are blocking off sections of the city to go after one guy because he's filming and uploading very nefarious activities. The agents saw Parias leave a home and drive away in a gray Toyota Camry. This is according to these people who are talking about how they're being in the right on this. This is their story. Yeah, we set up surveillance in the middle of a city and cornered off an entire section to go after a TikToker. More. When 3 law enforcement agents boxed in Parias's car and ordered him to exit the vehicle, he, quote, ignored those commands and drove the Camry both forward and back, hitting 2 of the law enforcement vehicles before accelerating aggressively, they say, with the car, citing their affidavit. All these factors, including the large amount of smoke produced by the spinning of the Camry's tires, caused the agents on the scene to fear that Parias would successfully dislodge the Camry and injure them. You know, all that smoke that was being produced by his tires spinning is scary. All the tear gas that these agents also threw at folks in the middle of Chicago a week ago, that's not scary at all. That's them just carrying out Donald Trump's mandate by the American people to attack the American people with chemical agents. But, you know, spinning tires from a Camry that they boxed in and attacked this man over, probably in masks and not in uniform, that's scary to these bitch ass cowards. And they feared their lives. If they fear for their lives, go ahead and help them with the fear of their lives. Keep their guts in the top of their throat. I think the American people are pretty much over this. So as far as the folks that they're taking into custody and they're putting in whatever prisons, whatever detainment centers that they're not letting any of us know. Here's an example, one of those detainment centers that they're not letting us know about. The one congressman, Juan Vargas, decided to go visit. And this one, and again, another person on social media who's documenting all this, he goes by the handle Official Arturo with a couple of O's. He showed this confrontation between Congressman Vargas and these folks down in San Diego where they're holding people. Let's watch this.
Thank you for being here, Juan Vargas.
Thank you. Chad Torres? No? Chad? Chad?
Chad Torres?
Yeah. Chief Torres? Chief Torres? No? Okay, we called ahead because we had heard that many people were being detained in the basement. Okay, thank you. Here officially for our oversight duties because we want to go to the basement to observe ourselves. Yes, thank you.
You guys, I'm live here from the federal courthouse where they just refused Juan Vargas, congressman, access to the basement where there has said to be 200 plus detainees. People are coming for their check-ins and they are being detained.
You go down there and see. So, okay, well, we're here as our oversight capacity, demanding that we go down and see. So you'll have to refuse that if you want to, because we want to go down.
Yeah, at this time, it still has to go to commission.
So you're not going to let us go down?
Not at this time.
And why is that?
Just
Well, I mean, we want to go see if you guys, you say it's not the case. Why can't we go see?
Well,
Okay, well, I guess it seems to me like you guys are hiding something. And that's the way it looks like. Well, sure. I mean, you say it's fine down there, but we can't go see it.
Well,
Those 2 officials were turned away. I mean, the guy that was working the window seemed pretty startled. He said, let me talk to my boss because I'm just here carrying out the orders that I've been given by the terrorists that are running the country and are holding people down in the basement. So this congressman wasn't allowed to then go and practice his oversight on this agency that he has jurisdiction over because the answer was, just trust me, everything's fine down there. I hope he goes back every day. I hope they bring more people with them because this is what's happening with folks. This is in San Diego. It wasn't just Juan Vargas. It was also Congressman Scott Peters. They sought to investigate reports that U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement detainees had been held for days underground in the Edward J. Schwartz Federal Courthouse basement in downtown San Diego. So anybody in San Diego, I'm familiar with San Diego. If you're near the Edward J. Schwartz Federal Courthouse, let's start bringing out crowds there. and demanding some answers, because this is what's happening. They said that the Trump administration denied them access. That was just a couple of days ago. Peters and Vargas said that their offices gave notice of their plan, but were still turned away. They even gave them an opportunity to clean up the mess that they have there, but they don't really care about the messes that they have there, because all they care about is serving the king. Here's what's happening. NBC7 reported last week on the concerns of immigration attorneys, volunteers, and families of detainees, who said many taken into custody have been held in the basement of that federal building for somewhere around 2 to 5 days, because the Otay Mesa Detention Center is at capacity. They contend that the basement is not equipped for holding people for that length of time without real beds or showers. I mean, they said real beds or showers. There may not be beds at all. And I think we can pretty much assume there's no showers in the basement of this building, where they made some makeshift prisons to pack people in. So they've got this mass deportation policy in place that Tom Homan took $50,000 on camera, that the Department of Justice is now hiding to get some of these, I guess, no bid contracts or quid pro quo type of agreements, to get folks to hold people for however amount of time. It doesn't matter. They were paid money to the guy who's running this whole thing to do illegal activities. And then when oversight comes to check it out, it's to turn them away. Well, we're doing illegal things. We're having human rights violations in the United States of America, and we're covering it up in front of your faces, and we expect you to just chill. Here's the last aspect of what it is that they're doing to these folks that are down in the basement for multiple days with no recourse, no records of what it is that they're doing to them. The people held in the basement also don't show up in ICE's online detainee locator, which families said has caused them great fear. So, like I said, just like what's happening in Washington, D.C., when they federalized the police and sent in the National Guard and started arresting people randomly and indiscriminately off the streets, there's no records of these. That's what we call disappearing people. And then, when these officials from this Trump administration are asked about how they're disappearing people, they scoff and go, why are you guys talking about disappearing people? These are over-the-top explanations. So what does that mean when people who are taken off the streets and not giving any rights, not giving any due process, which Stephen Miller said he wanted to implement months ago, and now it's been implemented, and they don't show up in the detainee locator? What else is that doing but disappearing folks? There's many people who have no idea what happened to their family members. I heard the numbers around 170 to 180 American citizens documented that they've taken into these facilities and they've kept for indiscriminate amounts of time. So all the hyperventilating that Republicans were saying people were having when Donald Trump said the homegrowns are next, meaning the people that disagree with me in the United States of America, that no longer have the right to dissent against my Gestapo type fascist techniques, they're next. And they're next to be put in prisons and having absolutely no recourse behind it. You know what the next recourse is, right? Do you guys know what the next recourse is? When violent people attack the country? I heard it had a lot to do with those, Second Amendment rights that they kept telling us we should be ready to have ready for us whenever that invading army, whether foreign or domestic, comes to attack this country. But they hired all those people that were hyperventilating and afraid of Black and brown folks, of any other minority, and women that they're afraid of, to have a gun on their hip, and they've been deputized to then be that Gestapo force that disappears people off the streets and is afraid for their lives and their families while they cover their sorry ass faces up with masks. That's what it is. We'll get there. It's a shame that so many people have to be victims before we get them there. It all comes from a guy who was upset at a bunch of No Kings protests that took place over last weekend. It comes from that guy who decided to put out AI videos actually confirming the reasons why so many people were upset about his actions. Let's go into exactly how it is that this guy's carrying out his newfound kingdom of the United States of America. It starts with his stupid ass son. You guys may ask yourself the questions: which stupid ass son? He's got a few of them. I think you guys probably guessed the right one.
Someone, by the way, who, if he was a king, probably would just reopen the government, but it hasn't worked that way. If he was a king, he probably would have never left the office the first time. If he was a king, he wouldn't allow his government to prosecute and persecute him. Someone.
So his government is prosecuting and persecuting him? Is that what's happening? Also, if I don't know if you guys heard the beginning of that dumbass's statements. If he was really a king, he never would have left office. Well, I mean, I guess it's A for effort.
We fight back because we have back.
I mean, he would have left office if he wasn't a dictatorial madman who wanted to be a king of this country. They just say stuff and they know that we know it's all BS. That's why you shouldn't have any more arguments with them over their rhetoric. They know what they're saying. And matter of fact, there was this guy who made sure that he wasn't going to be the one who was going to allow him to be this king that he feels he's become now. And this is what they had to say to that guy. It's kind of weird how that works. That's why you shouldn't listen to idiots like Donald Trump Jr. Matter of fact, he's made sure this president, not his dumbass son, just the dumbass president, he's also hinting at making sure he doesn't have to send his foot soldiers into the Capitol anymore to threaten to hang his vice president and also threaten to kill members of Congress that are looking to certify an election that he lost. Matter of fact, he keeps talking about how he never wants to leave, but I have a feeling he's not going to be around by 2028, so I'm not even worried about that. But this is his setup for trying to have, that kingdom that he keeps saying he doesn't want.
Or really, I think it's got to be handled in a proper way. If it's not handled in a proper way, we don't want it to happen again. We can never let what happened in the 2020 election happen again. We just can't let that happen. And so the way we go, I know Cash is working on it. Everybody's working on it, and certainly Tulsi's working on it. We can't let that happen again to our country. Look at what's happened where you have millions of people being allowed to come into our country, all because of a crooked election, where they come from prisons, they come from jails, they come from mental institutions and insane asylums, they're drug dealers. The people that they've allowed to come into our country, we cleaned it for really.
What is Cash working on? What's Tulsi working on? And what is it about the 2020 election that we can never let happen again? The thing about the 2020 election that we can never let happen again, according to the guy who lost the 2020 election, is him losing, or apparently anyone in his fascist party then losing, because he's not going to be around. The thing is, he wants to make sure of, which no one, for some reason, I'm not sure if it was a press conference or just a stupid diatribe, if someone should ask him, what is it that happened? And what is it that Cash is doing? He speaks in all these generalizations to act like he's up to something. But what is it that he's up to? How about we ask him? And then after he says it, Bill, that sounds fascist. That sounds like a monarchy. So since you're trying to dismantle democracy even further, hey guy, why don't you accept the fact that all those millions of people that came out to protest you doing exactly what it is you're now promoting just days after they said they don't want that, how it's a confirmation of that? But nobody asks this guy questions. Matter of fact, when he says things about taking over New York City, I guess no one asks him further questions about that either.
Well, I looked at the polls, and looks like we're going to have a communist as the mayor of New York, it'll be very interesting. But here's the good news: he's got to go through the White House. Everything goes through the White House. At least this White House it does, and we'll have to see what happens. But if he dropped out, he's not going to win, and not looking too good for Cuomo either. But maybe, I don't know, if he dropped out, maybe Cuomo would have a little bit of a chance, but not much. Well,
So he acknowledges that Zohar Mamdani will most likely win the mayoral race in New York City. But the good news is that he then takes over control over New York City, and everything that New York does goes through this White House, not other White Houses, this White House. Maybe someone should have asked him, yo, what's the difference between this White House and others when it comes to controlling American cities who vote someone in through a democratically elected system? What happens? And if you're in opposition to that normal system of majority of people voting this guy in, what does that make you? Just make him answer the questions instead of going, "Well, Mr. President, Mr. President, I'm sorry. Do you have more to say about how much you hate Zohar Mamdani? What is it about communism that you dislike? How about you ask him why he's a fascist and why he doesn't think literally espousing fascist values isn't exactly what it is that he is. It's like it's right in front of your faces. Just make him say it. I mean, he's already saying it, but just make him explore it a little bit further for the cameras to see, for the people who have no idea what this means. I look forward, again, if Mamdani wins, for the response from him. I mean, actionably. I mean, we know he's saying many of the right things, but actionably, what that response would be from him. Because we have way too many people who are afraid of saying and doing something direct and strong against this guy who's running roughshod over the rule of law, the judicial system, the election system, and Congress already rolled over a long time ago. I mean, when a madman fascist runs free, he just openly says things.
don't forget, and I haven't used it, but don't forget, I can use the Insurrection Act. 50% of the presidents almost have used that. And that's unquestioned power. I choose not to. I'd rather do this. But I'm met constantly by fake politicians that think that, it's not like a part of the radical left movement to have safety. These cities have to be safe. Don't forget, and
unquestioned power. I want to remind you guys what we were just looking at earlier on with these guys in the streets, his foot soldiers in the streets, armed with weapons and masks over their faces, assaulting, arresting, attacking, and threatening to murder American citizens. So as they do that, he says he wants the Insurrection Act, unquestioned power. There's nothing to argue about. There's no debates to be had. There's no discussion forums. There's no panels on CNN, MSNBC, or Fox News that can discuss whether or not what we're looking at is a fascist in the White House. There just aren't any. There's no such thing. All those things are for wasting more time while actionable things are happening behind the scenes. I'm even behind the scenes in this case, in front of you at the same time while he announces what it is he wants to do. And the only way to stop him doing those things that he's announcing that he wants to do is to push back, and not with just writings or words, but pushing directly back. So when they get to your front doorstep, it's no more debate time. And they're at many people's doorsteps. That's what they want, though. As the guy from Project 2025 said, they're going to have their fascist revolution and take over this country. And he said the left, whether the left, it'll be bloodless if the left allows it to be. In other words, roll over or we'll kill you. It's weird though that if you fight back, you're the violent ones. Okay, maybe you guys are okay with getting, not you guys, but maybe too many American citizens are okay with them thinking that, the Gestapo won't come for them, their tactics won't destroy their lives. Maybe we should start caring more about all the money that we keep giving this guy. Again, more blatant things that he's saying about what he wants to do with our money based off of his little baby grievances about his criminal activity that he got busted for doing.
You're just very good.
A follow up on her question to you, because the New York Times is reporting that your legal team is seeking $230 million from your own Justice Department now in response to the investigations into you. Is that something you want your legal team to do?
I don't know what the numbers are. I don't even talk to them about it. All I know is that they would owe me a lot of money, but I'm not looking for money. I'd give it to charity or something. I would give it to charity, any money. But look, what they did, they rigged the election. And as you know, we had, in one case, 60 Minutes had to pay us a lot of money. George Slavadopoulos had to pay us a lot of money, and they already paid. They paid me a lot of money because what they did was wrong. And, when somebody does what's wrong. Now, with the country, it's interesting because I'm the one that makes the decision, right? And, that decision would have to go across my desk. And it's awfully strange to make a decision where I'm paying myself. In other words, did you ever have one of those cases where you have to decide how much you're paying yourself in damages? But I was damaged very greatly. And any money that I would get, I would give to charity.
Are you okay with giving him $230 million of our money? Let's make it a little more focused. 230, you're part of a $230 million payout to this guy because he was done so badly. How often has this week some bitch been talking about how he's been done so badly as he runs roughshod over everything else? How his family has made $5 billion since he's been in office this time. But he said he's going to siphon $230 million and get some kind of approval from the Department of Justice because the Department of Justice previously did him so wrong by convicting him of his crimes. He doesn't care about the judicial system. He doesn't care about normal processes. What he cares about is paying himself. If someone else said Donald Trump wants to pay himself through the Department of Justice $230 million off of some made up things about the election being stolen, him being done so wrong, if he never said it and someone else said that's what he's thinking, they'd go, why would you guys say these over the top things? This is why the American people don't trust you libs and you Democrats anymore. But when he says it, people flock around and go, I mean, what can we do? He was done wrong. Because those are the water carriers, the foot soldiers that are part of trying to make sure this fascism, that they're a part of, is the standard in this country. Don't forget, did you guys forget this? The Deputy Attorney General, who was his personal attorney before he became the Deputy Attorney General, was one of the guys that was defending him in the cases that he lost. Oh, and speaking of that stolen election he keeps talking about, 18 different cases were carried out and sifted through all of his grievances about what he claims was done to steal the election from him. He lost all of them. He loses when evidence-based arguments are had and someone has to decide whether or not he's right or he's wrong. He loses every time. So after that, he does hostile things like a terrorist would do, takes over agencies and puts the people in place that were too fucking incompetent to even win those cases because they couldn't. The reason that Todd Blanche couldn't win those cases is because Donald Trump was guilty. Those Todd Blanche did? Todd Blanche was the guy that also met with Ghislaine Maxwell, that child sex trafficking rapist who met with her and gave her the sweetheart secret deal and put her in a minimum security prison camp while they wait and try and figure out ways to have people not talk about his part in raping young children. And then allow her to be pardoned, that he said several times, I can do that. That's Todd Blanche. So Todd Blanche, who's part of the Department of Justice in this guy's administration, is going to be part of the decision factor whether or not to give him $230 million so that maybe Todd Blanche can get his cut because he's his personal attorney. Yeah, because the United States of America is not being run by a fascist. It's that kind of detail about how egregious that is that no one talks fully about in that moment. We all talk about it in pieces when it happens, but they just toss it all over the place like confetti, and eventually you have to put the whole puzzle back together. He's talking about taking $230 million more of your money based through the Department of Justice that his personal attorney has, while covering up the Epstein files, which he's a big part of. You know, but it's not all that bad. But you know, those overspend tax and spend Democrats. By the way, Kristi Noem also had 2 jets that she bought for several millions of dollars, based off of her escapades to fly around the place and have a bunch of photo ops and play dress up to act like they're actually doing something. That's where money is going. There's also this guy. Here's a flashback sound from the guy who's RFK Jr., who's now in Trump's circle, who's now a part of these enablers. I want you guys to listen really closely what RFK Jr. said about Donald Trump and the people that follow him and that whole thing we call fascism.
You know, one of the things that you write so beautifully, and your stuff is so fun to read, but you write about Trump. Well, the way that you build a truly vicious nationalist movement is to wed a relatively small core of belligerent idiots to a much larger group of opportunists and spineless fellow travelers whose primary function is to turn a blind eye to things. We may not have that many outright Nazis in America, but we have plenty of cowards and bootlickers. And once those fleshy dominoes start tumbling into the Trump camp, the game is up. When you talk about fleshy dominoes, Chris Christie comes to mind.
Weird. It's like RFK Jr. knew who this guy was before he became one of those fleshy dominoes that's falling into place. A bunch of belligerent idiots. We may not have that many Nazis in America. That's where he was wrong. We have plenty of Nazis in America. We may not have that many Nazis in America, but we got plenty of bootlickers. And this sumbitch's tongue is full of Donald Trump's boots. It's like they knew who they were dealing with before they became the people that helped him do the things that he wanted. Hey, here's another of those bootlickers. Because, you know, you have to have this like Nazis did, because RFK Jr. said so, along with J.D. Vance said so. You know, with all of those bootlickers, those Nazis, those fascists, that all these people who have now become bootlickers, Nazis, and fascists, what they also need is some help from the state TV. Here's one of those fleshy domino bootlickers talking about how he loves him some authoritarian power.
The Democrats are upset because Trump is so unconstrained and he's so ambitious and he's wielding executive power so confidently. And none of their presidents ever did. And nothing they can do can check his power. They feel like they've squandered the opportunity in the executive office to do grand things, to make peace deals, to redo the World Trade Order. And they're looking at a guy who they thought was just like a pockmark in history, come back and be a consequential president. And he's so consequential, he's leaving a symbolic and physical legacy right there on the footprint of the most hallowed grounds in Washington, D.C., and they can't wrap their head around it.
Oh, yeah. People wrap their head around it, just like you wrap your mouth around his boot and lick it clean every day. He's celebrating the unconstrained power, executive power of Donald Trump. What a little bitch Jesse Waters is. He gets paid well to lick boots. He probably gets a fresh one to put in his mouth every day. He wants to celebrate the unconstrained power to do grand things. He's a consequential president. I'm sorry, monarch. But they're going to continue to talk about how he's not trying to be some kind of king, as we have protests that show the millions of people that pointed out they want no part of it. So they can keep talking about how the American people are a bunch of terrorists and support criminals when they're supporting the biggest criminal in the White House right now. It's going to come to a head. I just want to keep laying out how it's going to come to a head. This is not a discussion about convincing people of anything. They already know. You just heard RFK Jr. talk about how he knows. They already know. So the only reason that you somehow get something out of this discussion with them is for them to say, yeah, I've been lying this whole time. I've been trying to do this for myself and making some money and getting myself near power because I'm a fascist too. Who would say that? That's the answer you're looking to get by explaining fascism to people who are carrying out fascist activities? There are some people at Fox News, though, speaking of Jesse Waters and the people that work with and for him, who understand that too. But what you'll see is that they can't say it out loud or identify their names to it. It's the Guardian quotes. It says Fox News employees expressed concerns that the network was intentionally aiding Trump. That's what this is legal filing is pointing out. It was an anonymous internal 2020 survey. This is from 5 years ago. I'm telling you, they always knew it. They went over some of the things that these Fox employees were saying, what they were concerned about that was going on at this network, that is now saying things like, we're celebrating Donald Trump's unconstrained power. Here's a quote. Fox News is a propaganda machine for the Republican Party, not a news organization, and should be acknowledged as such. It's embarrassing to tell people that I work here, as even conservatives know Fox News Channel and Fox Business Network are biased information sources, not news. Again, that's what an anonymous employee said. I got a couple more. Because, be like, oh, there's that one rogue employee that, got so mad after he got fired. They still, at least at this point, back when this was done, they worked there still. Here's another quote. I sometimes go home fighting back tears. This network made me question my morals. Have I sold my soul to the devil? Hey, here's another quote. There's a fear that we cannot anger the president or his most zealous supporters and have abdicated all pretense of truthful reporting. Hey guys, I got another set of quotes, because there's all these disgruntled employees that are anonymous and don't want to put their name to it, because if they did, they'd be ex-disgruntled employees. Again, this is in 2020. I'm not sure if these folks have been fired or have quit since, but this is what they know as they worked there. This company aligns itself with the current administration and has lost its integrity. I wish there was purpose for what we do other than pushing the brand ideology, and political will of the president. Last quote. Many days I feel like I'm part of the problem, and Fox News Channel is contributing to hatred in this country. So when they call you crazy, just point out the people that are calling you crazy when the cameras aren't on and the microphones aren't in their faces are saying the same thing that you're saying. They're just celebrating it. Well, maybe those few people weren't then. I can't get into it today because, like I said, I over prepare. But there was this. I'm blanking on his name or the position that he was nominated for. There's this now new expose on how he's talked about how he's a Nazi. I do have Nazi tendencies. We know about that with these guys. And the question becomes, well, is this guy's nomination going to be taken away? When really the question should be, why are there so many Nazis surrounding the guy who says he's not a Nazi? Okay. By the way, when I said okay, that does not mean I'm done with this authoritarian part of this stream today. Because you know what else is happening? One of the people that runs one of these Nazi organizations within this Nazi and fascist administration is Kristi Noem. Here's an ad that they've run months ago.
I'm Kristi Noem, the United States Secretary of Homeland Security. Thank you, President Donald J. Trump, for securing our border, for deporting criminal illegal immigrants, and for putting America first. President Trump has a clear message for those that are in our country illegally. Leave now. If you don't, we will find you and we will deport you. You will never return. For too long, weak politicians left our borders wide open. They flooded our communities with drugs, human trafficking, and violent criminals. They put American lives at risk. Well, those days are over. If you leave now, you may have an opportunity to return and enjoy our freedom and live the American dream. But understand this. Under President Trump, America's borders are closed to lawbreakers. Follow the law and you'll find opportunity. Break it and you'll find consequences. The choice is yours. America welcomes those who respect our laws because a strong nation is a safe nation.
just realize everything that they say is projection as they talk about following laws, bro. Stomping all over the rule of law. They don't care about it. They figure they're superior. That's why everything this is based in their white superiority complex. They think they're better than everyone else. And you have to be at the feet of this guy. So that, it's a standard ad, right? Did you know this about it? I just found this out today. Like I said, I go too far in looking into these things. I saw that dumbass ad because I saw this. This is crazy from Axios. The most expensive political ad campaign of the year is being run by the Department of Homeland Security, run by that lady. DHS disputes that its ads are political, despite the fact that they said, we want to thank Donald Trump for getting rid of all those illegals because everyone that does anything different than him must be against the country. I'm sorry, back to the quotes. But it has spent at least $51 million this year on ads thanking Trump for securing the border. Whenever they say things like they spent $51 million in a year, what that means is they spent $51 million of your money. That's on top of the $230 million he wants to put into his pocket for being treated unfairly. Here's more details. The DHS ads promote Trump's mass deportation agenda in a series of direct-to-camera videos starring the face of the policy, Kristi Noem. They're part of a $200 million fast-track contract pushing self-deportation. I wonder how much of that $200 million has gone into Tom Homan's pockets. I mean, he got money from people that were paying him off for their no-bid contracts to make sure that they get access to be a part of this illegal deportation policy where they're scratching each other's backs. Here's more. The ads are airing nationally on broadcast TV, online, and in some local TV markets. Some station owners have not reported all the ad spending. Fox News Channel, weird, is the largest host of DHS's ad buy, airing about $9 million worth of their content. Morning shows like Today, CBS Morning, and Good Morning America saw the program-specific spending as well. Here's the part that, is kind of Tom Homan-y and probably should piss you off more than anything else. The DHS ads are being made by people who think in Safe America Media, who will be paid up to $200 million. The companies won the contract in February, bypassing the usual bidding process. DHS cited, quote, an unusual and compelling urgency to quickly award the contract. People who think that organization previously worked for Trump's 2016 presidential campaign and for Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry, who was also a client of Corey Lewandowski, the former Trump advisor who is now a temporary employee at DHS and is rumored to be the boyfriend of that lady who keeps talking on camera. Safe America Media formed its LLC just days before the contract award became public. It's almost like it's a corrupt administration full of people who are scratching each other's backs, taking our money, spending it whatever way they want to give it to each other to then assault the American people in several different ways. So things are going great for them as long as you cooperate with the fascism. You can get all kinds of corrupt deals and backdoor deals and all kinds of corrupt money, blood money even. So that's our fascist administration. I'm gonna run this last video. I was literally just about to close this one out because I hate this guy so much. I want to show you another reason why I hate him this much. Mike Johnson, since we're talking about authoritarianism and the little lemmings that need to be the people that assist in the authoritarianism, Mike Johnson is mouthpiece number one. The LSU baseball teams showed up to the White House to celebrate their national championships. And Mike Johnson was there. And for some reason, standing in front of a bunch of college-aged baseball players, this is what he was talking about.
I mean, this president has not only reduced taxes, as we said, we've cut fraud, waste, and abuse out of government. He solved the border crisis. He's solving the crime crisis. Oh, that's right. He's also resolving wars around the world, but he still takes time. That's right. He still takes time to recognize the leaders of the next generation, and that means so much to all of us. I know it does. I have a personal.
What he said, he got cut off at the back end. Mike Johnson was saying he has a personal relationship with Donald Trump's anus, and he's putting it on full display right there. Zero shame. Dropped to his knees, grabbed both ass cheeks, and rubbed his whole face into his asshole, because that's what Mike Johnson does. Moses, the guy who's all about Jesus, the guy who says everything he does politically is based in the Bible. He's just looking for the Bible up Donald Trump's ass. He hasn't found it yet, so he searches every day for it. Of that list of lies that he keeps telling. What's the point of telling college-age baseball players that? What's the point of telling anybody that? It's because he had nothing else to say, so he's like, I'm gonna go to my standard, normal talking points of Donald Trump's ass. That's why. Okay. Last story. Oh, I'm gonna make it in, right? That's why I started like 20 minutes early, you guys. I talk too much. So for those of you guys who just showed up, we got our third story of the stream coming on today. As usual, I like to talk about the farmers. But before I get into it, in case you are just getting here, or in case you got here in the middle of that very long breakdown of the authoritarian that's in the White House and how we shouldn't tolerate this shit anymore, in case you guys just got here, that's what's been happening. Go ahead and like that stream in case you were too focused on the madness. Also, make sure you come back every day at noon. We do this all the time. The little community here where we're talking, the chat is building. I think it's pretty vigorous. I enjoy you guys. I wish I could read it a little bit more, but instead, I'm gonna go into talking about this guy. This is an ad that was being run by the Democratic Party. They sponsored this ad, and they focus specifically on one farmer. His name is John Bartman.
I got to farm with my dad every day. It's a wonderful way of life, and it's at risk, and it shouldn't be. My name is John Bartman. You're at Bartman Farm in Marengo, Illinois. Farming is hard enough as it is this year, especially because of the tariffs that have been put upon us. This is really putting a major strain on all farmers right now. We don't want a bailout. We want a market. Bailouts are Band-Aids. What he is doing is destroying our markets. And when those markets disappear, we're not going to get them back.
I feel like we've been hearing that kind of talk from many farmers, but the Democrats put forward that particular ad where they profiled John Bartman. It was like a 5.5 minute full as far as the whole breakdown. They went into his farm, and you saw him there a little bit emotional at the beginning, talking about how he farmed with his dad every day. And the reasons that he looked a little bit emotional because I don't think he figures that he's ever going to be farming with, I guess, his kids or his own farm much longer. Do you know who doesn't care about that? Don't listen to me tell you he doesn't care about it. Listen to him tell you he doesn't care about that.
Question is, what do you have to say to U.S. farmers who feel that the deal is benefiting Argentina more than it is them, as
Look,
they are
Argentina's fighting for its life, young lady. You don't know anything about it. They're fighting for their life. Nothing's benefiting Argentina. They're fighting for their life. You understand what that means? They have no money. They have no anything. They're fighting so hard to survive. If I can help them survive in a free world, I happen to like the president of Argentina. I think he's trying to do the best he can, but don't make it sound like they're doing great. They are dying. All right? They're dying. What do you mean by being?
Question is,
The question was, how is it that how do you feel about farmers who feel that Argentina is benefiting from this $40 billion bailout you're tossing their way? Do you think he answered the question when he then said they're fighting for their lives, young lady? Don't think we know about that. Completely ignored the farmers that many people figure and assume voted for this dum-dum. Ignored them and said, I don't give a shit what farmers here think. I like their president because he's my puppet. We have him in place to do things that we want in another country. We're willing to put our money for because we've invested into their bad policy that we told him to do, and we can't lose out. Why would we do that? Let's take your money and save our asses. By the way, not even saving their asses. They've got plenty of money. They just don't want to lose a couple $100 million. So he's willing to inject more of our money into another country and completely ignore the question about how farmers feel about what it is that he's doing there. By the way, because the answer was about benefiting. Who cares if Argentina is not doing well? That's not the point. The point is are they benefiting? So if someone's not doing well, then isn't it weird that they can benefit after not doing well, which you're paying them to do? And speaking of Argentina, the agriculture secretary, Brooke Rollins, who also finds her way near and dear to Donald Trump's ass every day, she was talking about Argentina too, but it wasn't about us selling anything.
What about beef from Argentina? Is that a possibility?
Well, the president has mentioned it a couple of times. I think you'll be hearing more about exactly what that looks like. Right now, in America, we consume about 12 million metric tons of beef. 10 million of that we produce here in America, but the 2 million I'm talking about, we've been offshoring. And there's different parts of that, you know, what McDonald's buys in ground beef versus the actual muscle cuts, which is what a lot of Americans, the healthy part of all of this. I mean, here's the other thing that's so exciting for our beef industry is that Bobby Kennedy and my partnership with Making America Healthy Again, a lot of that is going to be moving around the new dietary guidelines around a return to saturated fats and what that means for our protein industry, beef, chicken, et cetera, poultry, pork is really, really, really encouraging. But having said that, we've got to make sure we've got the production to be able to align with that. So yes, the president has said he's in discussions with Argentina. I think we'll be hearing more about that in the next day or two. But as part of that 12 million metric tons, it will not be very much. Argentina is also facing a foot and mouth disease issue, which we at USDA have to ensure that our livestock industry is secure. And I know you've heard a lot about the screwworm coming up from Mexico. Foot and mouth is a challenge too. So we're on it. We're on the front lines. We're going to ensure our livestock industry is protected. But this is a very nuanced, very complex market, but that we're moving in every potential possible direction to make sure we've got a good future for these ranchers.
All right.
Wait, what? Say what? So we're gonna buy about, of our 12 metric tons, 12 million metric tons of beef. We're gonna get about 2 from Argentina, that country that we're supporting. So we should only have this deal with them. They're just dealing with this foot and mouth disease issue. So she's working with RFK Jr. about a foot and mouth disease issue. I'm sorry, see, he's not working on that. He doesn't give a shit. She's working with Argentina because she has no idea what she's doing. As she said before, she doesn't want to get outside of her lane. Everything goes through Donald Trump, who knows nothing. So we should deal with a foot and mouth diseased country's beef because Donald Trump is supporting them. I don't want you guys to forget. I'm gonna get back to the hand, foot, and mouth, whatever. Don't forget what this same agriculture secretary, Brooke Rollins, recently texted to Scott Bessent, who's a part of this bailout because his buddy is one of the people who paid all that money into it. She texted him, in part, Argentina sold a large amount of soybeans to China when we would normally be selling to them. This gives China more leverage over us. You see how, again, when it's behind closed doors and apparently on text messages that Scott Bessent doesn't know how to hide, they acknowledge the truth. But on camera, it's what's the most exciting thing ever is this foot and mouth disease beef that we're getting from this country that is only one is working with us because we're supplying them $40 billion to keep them afloat. Hey, do you guys know what foot and mouth disease is? Let me look real fast. Do you guys know what foot and mouth disease is? If you had a kid that's been in preschool, you've been warned about it. You maybe even have seen it before. But just in case you haven't, I guess trigger warning. This is some nasty shit.
It's a result of hand, foot, and mouth disease, a common virus that typically affects children under 5 years old.
Hayes has had it twice in the past 6 weeks. And the first time he had it, he just had a very mild case. And then 4 weeks later, he got it. And you could definitely tell he started getting sores on his hands, really bad sores on his feet. And he had them all in his mouth and on his tongue.
The most common one is the Coxsackie virus. It's passed through saliva, and of course, little children are always putting things in their mouth and putting them down, and another kid puts it in their mouth, and that's how it's spread.
Hi, I know.
Most contagious during the first week, it takes a few days for signs and symptoms of the virus to appear.
You can have about 3 to 5 days of incubation period, so you don't even know you have it.
We don't need to hear more about that. Just make sure you don't see any hand, foot, and mouth disease, in your beef from Argentina, that country that Donald Trump says, what are you talking about? They're doing so badly. So give them more of your money. I'm sorry, give me more of your money, because that's actually what I'm doing. I'm not benefiting the people of Argentina. Make Argentina great again. That was his slogan during the campaign. So while he's lying to you or telling you that you shouldn't be upset about all the money he's given to Argentina, these are the promises that he's making to you. So don't forget, there's direct promises made to Argentina of $40 billion because Scott Bessent and his buddy have investments there, along with the rest of the oligarchs that are fueling this fascist president. So since they've got money there, they care about that country. And then this is what he's promising you.
$17 trillion. It could be $20 trillion by the end of the first year, my first year.
Investment in America.
Investing in America, $20 trillion. No country's ever done anywhere even near that, like a fraction of that. Biden did less than $1 trillion in 4 years. I did 20 trillion. We're going to do over 17 trillion in 8 months. By the time we end, we could do over $20 trillion. There's never, in China, no matter where you go, there's never been anything like it. We are building up something that's unbelievable. And a big part of that are the tariffs, because they don't want to have to pay the tariffs, because it's so unsustainable that they come and build the pharmaceuticals and the chips and all the things. They're coming into the United States and they're building them. It's a miracle what's happening. We are building the greatest country in the world, economically, greater than we've ever been before. But yeah, 17.
You guys remember the video I did a little while back about the numbers he's talking about? 8 trillion. I think it jumped up to 10, maybe 12, 17 trillion. And now we're at 20 trillion. Would he say trillion? I'm just saying, as he gives actual money to folks in other countries, I'm sorry, not folks, to the people, the puppets that he's put in place in other countries. I'm sorry, the people who have invested in those countries with really bad policies that they forced them to invest in those countries in. He's promising 20 trillion now. Why not just throw out random numbers? These dumbasses aren't going to question it. Maria Bartiromo's not going to say, how do we get to $20 trillion? What's that based in? Because he also had explanations where he told his people, where's the extra 7 trillion, Mr. President? And he said, check the tariff shelf. And they wouldn't check the tariff shelf. And he said, oh my God, I didn't see it. Thank you, Mr. President, for telling me to check the tariff shelf. I'm sure they are making tons of money off of our backs. I'm sure they are taking it from us. Hey, let's go right back to John Bartman, the guy who we started this whole thing off with. That farmer, in case you didn't know how he felt about this administration, because we did hear about how he felt about tariffs and everything. But I'm just curious. I want to go back to him, since we just heard about $20 trillion coming in from Donald Trump. I wonder how he feels about that, and if he's feeling, any of the benefit of that 20. It was 17 trillion. It's going to be 20. I'm sorry. I'm misquoting him. But 2 months from now, it'll be at 20 trillion. Here's John Bartman.
Are you angry?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm totally mad. There's no reason for it. This is absolute stupidity. This is a man-made crisis caused by Donald Trump, period.
John Bartman is a soybean farmer whose family has been working Illinois land since before the Civil War. This year, his crops, diligently planted, meticulously cared for, are losing their value.
This is a yield monitor. This allows me to see instantly what my yield is doing. So this is 4,134. So that's roughly $40,000 worth of soybeans that we have harvested. And a couple years ago, that was easily $60,000. So that's a major change. This is the economics. It's what we do in this country. We export food, and we can't do that right now.
Soybeans are the largest agricultural export from the U.S., valued at more than $24 billion last year, 52% of which was exported to China. But this year, soybean exports to China are down 51% compared with the same time period last year. The drop comes as China stopped buying soybeans from the U.S. and an escalating trade war. President Donald Trump insists farmers will win the trade war. Posting on Truth Social October 1st, "We've made so much money on tariffs that we are going to take a small portion of that money and help our farmers. I will never let our farmers down." John Bartman is skeptical.
Bailout's not going to do it. Bailout, unfortunately, we need the money.
Once you lose a customer like China, can you ever get them back?
I sincerely doubt it. Why would they?
I'm just saying. Sometimes they ask these guys, did you vote for him? Do you regret your vote? If you did vote for him, all that stuff. I don't know if they got to that point with John Bartman, because I think a lot of folks assume that these farmers just, vote for this guy. And I'm sure plenty do, and I'm sure plenty don't. It's really hard to say. But also, this affects everyone. This affects everyone. And it's not just the tariffs that he said is the driver behind all the great economy that he keeps talking about. What it really is in conjunction with also this mass deportation policies, the fact that they're ruining other folks' businesses, the fact that people are losing their jobs, and then therefore they can't spend on things, even as things increase to the degree that they do. Everything gets worse, and there's only a few people that it gets better for. Those folks that have paid him to make sure that he implements policies and this MAGA fascist agenda that makes sure it only gets better for them. That's what unfettered capitalism is. They have a fiduciary responsibility to make more money. And if they run out of places to take money from, they start taking it from anywhere. And then they expand to other countries and take more of our money to try and make more money in another country where they don't give a shit about us, our money, and then just go to make more of it for themselves some more. Ask Scott Bessent about that, since he's heading up, that plan to give Argentina $40 billion. Think about that 40 billion as Senator Brian Schatz then talks about this whole shutdown process. This is all connected. Everything they're doing seems like so much chaos, and this because it is, but it's chaotic with the background and underlining of them implementing policies that get them more and destroy our lives at the same time. Here's Brian Schatz talking about that stuff.
If Donald Trump doesn't make the call, they're not going to do it.
I think you're exactly right. I think that unless Donald Trump is in on the deal, Mike Johnson won't move, which is why Chuck Schumer asked for a meeting in the Oval Office, because he knows once Donald Trump is persuaded that he needs to solve this ACA premium issue, then he'll just send the order to Mike Johnson. There will be about, like 40 or so hardcore Republicans who are hardcore right-wing dudes who will vote no, but most of them will just get right in line. And so, that's the path to solving this particular problem. But we're not a constitutional monarchy.
Absolutely.
We're a democracy. The cost of electricity is rising at double the rate of inflation. Cost of vegetables is going up 39%. Coffee, a dear thing to me, up 20%. And then healthcare is going to go up 114%.
But Donald Trump told a reporter, "Hey, young lady, you don't know what you're talking about. Do you know that they're in a bad shape?" Or going to be in a really bad shape for the folks who can't afford health care. It's already been a problem already. It's going to get much worse. They don't care. As a matter of fact, the plan is to make sure that happens. They need desperation. They need chaos. And they need us to continue to be stupid enough to blame everyone else but the people that are doing it. Last clip here. So you guys are going to make it to TDR on time, I promise. So that's normal. See, that's clear-headed. That's connecting normal dots. How Mike Johnson isn't going to do anything with this shutdown unless Donald Trump approves it. So since they're not doing anything on it, they're refusing to negotiate, by the way, on the things that Schatz was just talking about, is what they're going to horrible for people even further. Donald Trump thinks, because, he's Donald Trump, that these types of weird declarations can somehow eliminate all of the reality that you're seeing in front of your face. But it doesn't change the fact that they're losing this debate on the shutdown, but they don't really care.
Are you going to have to compromise on something around
I don't know.
healthcare subsidies to
Here's the
end this
problem.
thing?
They want to give 1 point. They have a deal. We have a deal. We just want an extension. And the reason we want an extension is because you can't make a deal with these people. They're lunatics. They've gone crazy. They're crazed people. Trump derangement syndrome. There really is that disease. At first, I found it to be amusing. Now I find that it really is.
Are you going to have?
He had 3 different thoughts in that one answer. He said at one point he didn't even finish that because he couldn't remember the made-up number he was going to come up with, but it ended with Trump derangement disease. So somehow that just eliminates everything that you see in front of your face. I think he's made it pretty clear that he's open to this shutdown, and that's why they're celebrating it. That's why they said they're going to do all the things that Democrat programs that are actually things that benefit Americans. All that stuff he's on board for because he's a terrorist and he hates this country. He's invading it from within, and he's making money off of it. So enjoy that. Other than that, also enjoy TDR. We're going to get out of here in time, although a minute late. John's just starting the show. All you're hearing is my Sharona music playing anyway. It's okay. We'll see you guys tomorrow. I appreciate you being here. Yes, we're here for a solid hour and 20 minutes almost. So I'm glad you guys hung out and came around. We'll see you guys on a Thursday. Try not to get too upset, but definitely don't let the fascists come and take away your rights. It's time to fight back. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Appreciate you. Love you. Until next time. See you later, Mom.